Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, faced power, war, and chaos, but Stoic philosophy kept him calm and wise. Want to discover how Stoic principles can bring inner strength and peace to your life? Subscribe to the channel and join us as we explore how to live peacefully and powerfully every day. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful Roman emperor of his time. He had it all: power, fame, an army at his command, and a vast empire to rule. Yet, despite this, his greatest challenge wasn't the endless wars or political intrigue. It was the battle within himself. Every day as he sat in his palace, surrounded by luxury and privilege, a voice echoed in his mind: "Are you doing enough? Are you truly living with purpose?" It's easy to think that the emperor's life was without struggle, but in reality he faced the same human fears and doubts we all face. How do I maintain peace of mind in a world filled with chaos? How do I remain strong when everything around me is crumbling? The answer he discovered lies in the simple yet powerful principles of Stoicism. He understood that while he couldn't control the storms outside, he had complete control over the storms within. Marcus Aurelius mastered the art of emotional resilience, knowing that his power came not from external conquests, but from the strength of his inner calm. Imagine being in his shoes, powerful yet vulnerable. The pressures of ruling an empire could have crushed him, but instead he chose to rise above them. In every challenge he found an opportunity to strengthen his character. He lived each day as if it were a chance to become the best version of himself. And so, the question remains, what would we do if we embraced the same mindset? If we too could find peace in the midst of chaos just as Marcus did? The power to transform our world starts from within. At the peak of his power, Marcus Aurelius was haunted by thoughts of life, death, and the meaning of it all. Despite having everything most could dream of, an empire to rule, riches, and the admiration of millions, he was not immune to the inevitable questions that come with being human. He often pondered, what does it all mean? What happens after life ends? The very power that could have led him to arrogance and self-importance became, instead, a mirror for introspection. For Marcus, the weight of authority didn't make him proud. It made him more humble, more aware of the fleeting nature of life. Every day the emperor faced the truth that no matter how mighty his empire, no one escapes death. He didn't seek to avoid these questions or hide from them. Rather, he turned inward, seeking wisdom not from the world's fleeting pleasures, but from the depths of his soul. His writings, filled with reflections on impermanence, self-control, and the pursuit of virtue, show a man constantly grappling with the greatest mysteries of existence. This is the paradox of Marcus Aurelius. With all the glory of an emperor at his command, he found true strength in surrendering to the fact that life is uncertain, death is inevitable, and the only thing we can control is how we live in the present moment. So, perhaps the greatest lesson he left us is not how to wield power, but how to live humbly, always aware of life's fragility. The question is, can we, like Marcus, find peace in the impermanence of our own lives? In the midst of wars, rebellions, and the constant threat of illness, Marcus Aurelius sought a guiding light, a philosophy that would keep his mind steady in the storm. He turned to Stoicism, a philosophy that taught him to focus not on what he could not control, but on what he could. His thoughts, his actions, and his reactions. Stoicism became his compass for navigating the chaos of life. It wasn't just a set of beliefs for him. It was a way of being, a constant reminder that while the world around him could be filled with suffering and turmoil, his inner peace was something he could cultivate. Through Stoicism, Marcus learned that life is unpredictable. People may rebel. Armies may invade. Disease may strike. But none of these external forces had to disturb his internal calm. By embracing the Stoic principles of acceptance and resilience, he found strength to face the darkest moments of his reign with clarity and poise. In the battlefield of life, Stoicism taught him to stand unshaken. When his health faltered, when his empire was under siege, and when betrayal loomed, he reminded himself that the obstacle is the way. Every challenge was an opportunity for growth. It was through these trials that he deepened his understanding of himself and the world. Today, Marcus's journey through Stoicism still offers us the same lesson. The path to tranquility isn't found by avoiding hardship, but by facing it with a clear and focused mind. Can we, too, find the strength to remain centered amid the chaos of our own lives? Marcus Aurelius left us a profound treasure. His personal reflections, known as meditations. It wasn't a book meant for the world to see, nor was it written to boast about his wisdom. In fact, it was quite the opposite. These were his private thoughts, a series of notes to himself, written not for fame or admiration, but as reminders for his own soul. In Meditations, Marcus captured the rawness of his struggles, the constant battle to live virtuously, and the relentless effort to align his thoughts with Stoic principles. The pages of this book are filled with lessons of humility, self-discipline, and acceptance. It's not a philosophical treatise intended to convince others. It's a man speaking to himself, grappling with the very human challenges we all face. He wrote about his doubts, his fears, and his attempts to stay grounded amidst power and conflict. These writings were his daily self-check, a tool to keep his mind in balance and his actions in alignment with his highest ideals. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being honest and striving for progress no matter how small. By sharing these reflections with us today, we see that Marcus's strength wasn't in his titles or conquests. It was in his ability to pause, reflect, and stay true to his values. His meditations remain a timeless reminder that true wisdom isn't for display. It's for personal growth, for quiet reflection, and for the courage to be real with oneself. Marcus Aurelius firmly believed that we are not disturbed by events, but by the views we take of them. This powerful idea speaks to the core of Stoic philosophy. It's not the external events that shake us, but our reaction to them. Our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions shape our emotional world far more than the circumstances we find ourselves in. For Marcus, the key to resilience wasn't in trying to control the unpredictable flow of life, but in cultivating the right mindset. He understood that we cannot always control what happens to us, whether it's a betrayal, a defeat, or a personal loss. But we can control how we choose to see and respond to these events. The attitude we bring to life's challenges is everything. A single situation, seen through different lenses, can evoke drastically different responses. One person might view an obstacle as a setback, while another sees it as an opportunity to grow. Marcus recognized that by shifting our perspective, we have the power to transform our experience of the world. This is where Stoicism offers its most profound wisdom. By mastering our thoughts and emotions, we can maintain peace and clarity regardless of the storm around us. The external world may be chaotic, but our inner world can remain steadfast, provided we choose the right attitude. So, the question we must ask ourselves is this: in the face of adversity, will we allow our thoughts to control us, or will we control our thoughts? The key to mastering life lies in how we choose to see it. Marcus Aurelius lived by a profound sense of discipline, humility, and emotional control. As an emperor, the world constantly demanded his attention, yet he understood that true strength didn't lie in his power over others, but in his power over himself. He made it his mission to govern his emotions with the same rigor he used to govern his empire. Every day he practiced self-mastery. He didn't allow fleeting desires or sudden impulses to dictate his actions. He believed that the highest form of strength is not the ability to conquer external enemies, but the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of internal turmoil. For Marcus, self-control was not merely a virtue, it was a foundation for living a meaningful life. His life was a testament to the idea that true power comes from within. By mastering his emotions and impulses, he could act with clarity and purpose. He knew that unchecked emotions, whether anger, fear, or pride, could cloud judgment and lead to reckless decisions. Therefore he practiced restraint in all things, never allowing external forces to disturb his inner peace. In his view, self-control was the ultimate form of strength because it enabled him to remain unshaken regardless of what life threw at him. It was a quiet, steadfast power that didn't need to be flaunted. We often seek power outside ourselves, through accomplishments, possessions, or status. But Marcus's life shows us that the most enduring strength is the power to master our own minds and hearts. In the end, true freedom and strength lie in self-mastery. Despite being the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, Marcus Aurelius never allowed himself to forget one simple, yet profound truth: I am just a man like any other. This constant reminder was his safeguard against the dangerous illusions of power and superiority that often accompany such a lofty position. As emperor, he could command armies, make laws, and hold the fate of entire nations in his hands. Yet, Marcus always saw himself as a fellow human being, subject to the same frailties, limitations, and mortality as anyone else. He refused to let his title define his worth or cloud his understanding of life's deeper realities. In his writings he often reflected on the transient nature of power and wealth. These things he recognized were fleeting, easily gained, easily lost. And with them came the temptation to think of oneself as invincible, above the common struggles of humanity. But Marcus resisted this temptation. Instead, he viewed power as a responsibility, not a privilege, and reminded himself that no matter how high he rose, he was still part of the same human fabric as everyone else. This humility, rooted in the Stoic belief in the impermanence of external circumstances, kept him grounded. His role as emperor did not elevate him above the trials of the human experience. It made him more keenly aware of them. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that no matter how much success or power we achieve, we must always remember our shared humanity. True greatness lies not in the illusion of superiority, but in the ability to remain humble and connected to the world around us. Marcus Aurelius faced some of the most harrowing challenges an emperor could endure: loss, disease, and war. His empire was constantly under threat, and his personal life was marked by deep sorrow. Yet, despite these external storms, he maintained an unwavering inner calm. In the face of death, both personal and collective, he practiced what Stoicism teaches. We cannot control what happens around us, but we can control how we respond. When a plague ravaged his empire, killing thousands, when rebellions threatened the stability of his reign, and when the weight of his own personal losses weighed heavily on him, Marcus didn't allow these events to disturb his mind. He understood that the world is filled with chaos. Illness strikes, war devastates, and people disappoint. But Marcus chose to see these as external events beyond his control, while his inner peace remained something he could always govern. In his meditations, he often wrote about the importance of focusing on the present moment and accepting life as it comes, without being swept away by grief or fear. His strength wasn't in avoiding hardship, it was in facing it with a calm and focused mind. While the world around him might be in turmoil, he refused to let it disturb his inner tranquility. He knew that to maintain his peace, he had to master his thoughts, to view challenges as opportunities for growth, and to stay anchored in his principles. Marcus's example teaches us that no matter what external chaos we face, we can choose how we respond. The power to stay centered, calm, and unshaken lies within our own minds. Marcus Aurelius taught that death is not something to fear, but a natural part of life to be accepted with grace. He believed that living virtuously, with purpose and integrity, makes death not an enemy but a transition, a conclusion to a life well lived. In his meditations, he often reflected on the inevitability of death, reminding himself that it's a part of the natural order. Just as we don't fear the changing of the seasons or the falling of leaves, we shouldn't fear the passing of life. Death is not an end, but a return to the same cycle of existence that we've always been a part of. It's simply a part of the great flow of nature, and it comes to all of us regardless of our station or achievements. For Marcus, the key to facing death with peace was not in avoiding it, but in living in such a way that when the time came, we could meet it with a clear conscience. If we live with virtue, if we fulfill our duties to ourselves and others, then we have nothing to regret when our time comes. Death is not a punishment but a return to the universe, and we should not resist it, but embrace it as a necessary part of the journey. In a way, Marcus Aurelius challenged us to ask ourselves, are we living the kind of life that will make us ready to face death without fear? If we live honestly, with courage and virtue, death will not be something to dread, but a peaceful conclusion to a life well spent. Marcus Aurelius chose to live with purpose, to serve others, and to be grateful for every moment he had. As emperor, he could have easily been consumed by the demands of power, yet he remained deeply focused on what truly mattered, using his time wisely and living each day with intention. In his meditations, he constantly reminds himself of the fleeting nature of time. Every moment, he writes, is a precious gift that should not be wasted. Time once lost cannot be regained. For Marcus, the key to living a meaningful life was to use every moment in service to others and in pursuit of virtue. His actions were driven by a deep sense of responsibility, not just to himself but to the empire and its people. He didn't allow himself to be distracted by trivialities or indulgences. Instead, he sought to contribute, to make a positive impact, and to live in alignment with his highest values. His life was not about personal glory or gain, it was about fulfilling his duties with integrity and using his time on earth to become the best version of himself. This sense of purpose also led him to practice gratitude. Even amidst the chaos of ruling an empire, dealing with wars, plagues, and personal loss, Marcus never lost sight of the value of the present moment. He knew that each day was an opportunity to serve, to grow, and to be thankful for the chance to live. In the end, Marcus Aurelius shows us that life's true value isn't in wealth or fame, but in living with purpose, in serving others, and in embracing each moment with gratitude. Time once spent is gone forever, and he chose to make every second count. Can we too live with such intention and gratitude? Marcus Aurelius stands as a living testament to the fact that even at the pinnacle of power, one can live simply, humbly, and peacefully. As the ruler of the vast Roman Empire, he held the fate of nations in his hands, yet he never allowed his position to lead him to arrogance or excess. Instead, he lived with the wisdom of someone who understood that true greatness is not defined by the size of one's empire, but by the depth of one's character. His life was marked by a quiet simplicity. Despite his wealth and status, Marcus maintained a modest lifestyle, choosing to live in a way that was in harmony with his Stoic principles. He didn't indulge in luxuries or seek external validation. His true wealth lay in his ability to govern his mind, to remain grounded and centered regardless of the turmoil surrounding him. Through the practice of Stoicism, Marcus found the greatest freedom, the freedom of inner peace. While others might chase after power, wealth, or fame, Marcus understood that the ultimate victory is the ability to remain calm, composed, and unshaken in the face of life's challenges. The storms of war, disease, and political strife could rage around him, but within he remained steadfast. In the end, Marcus Aurelius shows us that true freedom comes from within. No matter how powerful we become, our greatest achievement is the mastery of our own minds, the ability to remain humble, and the capacity to live in peace with ourselves. The victory of inner freedom is the greatest triumph any human being can experience. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully the lessons from Marcus Aurelius and the Stoic philosophy will help you live a stronger and more peaceful life. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to the channel to watch the next videos.